Super chill, live writing session, live writing stream with Delores, the pastor's daughter. I'm your girl, honey. I'm your accountability partner. Okay? All right. I'm getting on the vibration plate and I'm going to talk to y'all for a minute. We're going to talk for 10 minutes. Okay? While y'all are getting y'all stuff together, we're going to talk. I'm going to let y'all know what I'm working on today. Okay? Okay, so today, you guys, to me, I don't know, like today was kind of like my Monday, kind of, you know, but like not really because, we had line dance class today. We got two turn Tuesdays. Well, so I went to line dance class. Okay, side note. Okay, side note while we're talking about line dance class. So, y'all, while I was on my way to line dance class today, what I was thinking about? I was thinking about how I have been committed to line dance. Like teaching line dance now. I didn't go back and actually calculate like how long I've been actually like teaching this particular class. Like I haven't done the math yet, so I don't know how long I've been doing it. But I've been doing it, you know? Like that's the thing. I've been doing it. And like at one point, you guys, I thought that like I had a problem with consistency. Like I don't never finish anything, like I thought that about myself. Like it wasn't true. But for some reason I just got like that thought in my mind, like, that I don't follow through and like I don't, like I'm not consistent. I don't stick with stuff. So I was kind of like hard on myself about that, like beating myself up about it. But today I just kind of had like this, realization that like I have really been dedicated to line dance and like I've been consistently teaching it. It doesn't matter like how many people are in the class. I've had big classes, I've had small classes, I've had like just me, you know, like, and it doesn't even matter, like I'm just like, I'm there, I'm present, I'm consistent, and like I'm committed, and I've done it week after week. I haven't missed not one week since I've started, just like consistently been doing it, showing up, teaching, bringing energy, you know, just bringing the vibes and all of that stuff, like, and I've really been doing that, and it just like came to my realization today, like, sometimes I get like hard on myself and like not even like recognize how, I have like really excelled in some things or like I really showed up and showed out in some things. And I just don't give myself credit for that. Like, do y'all have that issue too? Child, I do, child. So like today I just was thinking about it like on my way to line dance class, like I have really like been committed, and like even before then I was committed to like other people's classes, like before I started doing it on my own, I was loyal. I was like I was committed to other people's classes and like helping promote other people's classes. Like I was committed, dedicated, and like, active in it, and like sometimes, it just does you good to acknowledge, like how you have like really showed up and showed out. And I don't think I give myself enough credit sometimes. And maybe like, this is kind of like a wake up call to you too, like, to give yourself like a little bit more credit. Like you've been showing up. I mean, even with these live streams, right? Like sometimes there's nobody on here. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm still here and I still show up and I still like, I do my thing, showing you guys like just kind of like my behind the scenes, just my like, this is my life right now, kind of like my process, you know. And like, maybe you see it, maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know who sees it. Like it's just it's like at certain times people will say something to me, like I've been watching your videos, or like, will say something that, was impactful to them or whatever, and that's like kind of like sometimes the only time I ever really know, or like, have any kind of insight into like the impact, that I'm making, or, just like the fruit of showing up. You know what I mean? Because like you're supposed to bear fruit. You're supposed to like what is the evidence? Like what do you have to show for yourself? And y'all know I just turned 45. Okay, 45. Okay, you guys. Child. And I think about that too. Like what's the impact that I've made in the world so far? What what have I like yet to do and yet to discover, and yet to like conquer, I don't know. And then today y'all had like some random thoughts about like life being like an obstacle course. You know what I mean? Like it's just like doesn't it seem like that sometimes? Like life is an obstacle course. Child, I was like, oh my God. Life just it's just that's what it just be giving sometimes. Like just like how you just play these games, and like you play these obstacle course type games, like, and just like every level has its challenges, and I don't know. It's just weird. But anyway, so today I am working on more girlfriend gala stuff. Right now I'm just total girlfriend gala mode. Okay. So like I rest, and then girlfriend gala, and then I do some, like community type stuff, and then I try to do some stuff around the house, because I still want to maintain like all the things that all the obligations I have, and like maintaining my home and stuff. Like, don't y'all sometimes get so busy like with doing all this like stuff outside the house, that to where like you neglect the house? It's like, no, I can't neglect the house. So I'm trying to balance, like I'm trying to balance all the things that I want to do, and all the things I need to do, and still like, taking care of myself, still being, mindful of, how my body is feeling, and, if I'm overdoing it, and, if I'm resting enough, and, you know, and just kind of like managing all of that, along with like doing all the community stuff, and like, the girlfriend gala stuff that I want to do, and all that. So, um, I don't know, like sometimes I still feel like I'm a little heavy on the rest side of things. I feel like I'm like, I feel a little guilty when I'm resting, I guess is how I can better put it, you know. So then, I question like the quality of rest that I'm actually getting, because if I'm feeling guilty as I'm resting, then I'm not really resting. You know what I mean? Because I'm just constantly thinking about I shouldn't be resting. So like, I'm just trying to balance all of that, and still show up, when I need to show up and be present, and all of that stuff. Like I've missed a few things like that's been going on in the community that I wanted to be involved in, like some chamber things that have been going on, like ribbon cuttings and stuff like that I wanted to be a part of. And I just have to give myself grace, for that. Like I just can't be at everything. I just can't do everything. And like, you know, sometimes you have to like establish like some self boundaries for yourself, like I want to do everything, but like it's just not practical, you know and it's just not smart. So balancing all of that, but like we are like right at like, what are we, 51 days, 51 days away from girlfriend gala. And if we could just like stay focused, and stay, with our goal in mind, our purpose and our mission in mind, then we'll get through this, and then we'll have our moment, we'll celebrate the success of this event, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So like it's all about like pacing yourself and having balance, and all that good stuff. So what are y'all working on, child? Huh? What y'all working on? Let me see. As usual in the chat, let me know what. I'm typing it in. Okay. What are you creating? And let me know, you guys, do y'all enjoy like this angle too? Like I just decided one day, like I just had this idea to to do like this angle, kind of like, like really as if y'all were like in the office with me or something, like we're all in the same, you know, same office. That's my little cubicle. You're in your little cubicle, whatever. So, how do you like the angle? You know, I think it's a little bit better for me because it's not like y'all are just like looking me right in my face as I'm like looking at the screen, trying to focus and looking all cross-eyed and crazy. So I thought it might be interesting to give like a little bit of a different perspective. This is my she shed. So like, I've got a couple of zones going on in here. And maybe one day I'll give you guys like a little tour of the she shed. But this is like, my piece, my area where, I really do all of my creative work. A lot of my creative processes happen right here in this space. And I am like really grateful for it. I'm like super blessed to have this space. And so this is where you're what you're seeing right now. So um, get to work, y'all. Let me know what you're working on in the chat. And let me see. I'm gonna put it on some chill music today. That's one of the categories. So let's see. Should we put on chill hop or just chill? Let's put on chill hop. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. And I'm gonna mute out and then I'll be back, take a break, we'll get on the vibration plate, or you guys move around. Make sure that you're taking frequent breaks, keep your body moving and stuff like that, okay? So let's get to work. Okay, people, it's time for our check-in. What's going on? I'm getting on the vibration plate right now. All right. Woo, woo. Okay, so here's what I was working on. So there was another couple of updates I needed to make to the partnership flyer. I did that and then I resent it out. I'm gonna send it again in a clean email because they were like it was a email back and forth of corrections. And so I sent the final one out, but to avoid any confusion, I'm going to send it out in a clean email that's going to have the updated comprehensive plan in it, that partnership flyer in it, and a workflow and timeline sheet. It's just a quick reference sheet um, that people can go to figure out, okay, what do I need to have done and by what date? Okay, so they're gonna have that quick reference sheet. That's also the sheet that I'm gonna go by for tomorrow's meeting. We have our committee meeting tomorrow. We have it every Wednesday up to the day before the event. So tomorrow we're going to be 50 days out. So, now we're at crunch time, and now it's time to make sure that things are like solid, they're locked in, you know, and we can like move on to the next thing, so we need to make sure that things are like we've got all our contracts, we've collected our monies, we've you know um signed any contracts that need to be done. We're clear about how many tickets that we can actually sell, because that's still a question mark that's in the air right now, is the exact number of seats that we'll have available. And then, making sure that we also have enough seats available for our members and stuff like that. So, of course, I'm not going to be sitting down, Sean. I'm going to be up the entire time. Okay. So I don't need a seat. Okay. But but everybody else will. Plus, I have guests as well, and they'll need seats. So I need to make sure that my guests are taken care of. And so each member will have to do that, as well as, the sponsors, if they already have a group of ladies that are coming, So hopefully our ticket site will be up and running by the end of the week. So we'll start ticket sales hopefully by around the 6th of the month, like no later than then. And I'm thinking, I told you guys before, we're going to sell out pretty fast. I think we're going to sell out before the end of September. So, we'll, all of that will be behind us too. And then the only thing that'll be really left to do is just make sure that the event itself is like, spectacular, So it'll be great to get all these like behind the scenes details, out of the way, get all that done, and then so we can like move on to like more, um, you know, working on just the ambiance of the whole day, the atmosphere, the vibe, the flow, all of that good stuff. So, right now we're still working on all the logistics, so as soon as we get all of that locked in, then we'll be able to move on to the fun part of it. So that's what I have so far. I'm about to print off my latest timeline and workflow sheet. I'm also going to send that out. I just drafted an email to send that out, but I decided let me go ahead and take a break now before I send the email, so that way I make sure the email sounds good. Just let me just take my mind off of it for a minute. Then I'm going to go back to it, you know, and then go through, correct it, and then make sure my attachments are attached. Because, like, how many times do we send emails that's supposed to have an attachment and forget to put the attachment on there? Okay. We're not going to do that today, okay? The attachments will be attached, okay? The corrections and all of that stuff. So that's what we have going on right now. And ideally, I should have already sent this out earlier today, but I didn't get it done, child. So we're gonna do it now. Go ahead and send it out. It's late. The ladies are everybody's probably asleep but me, I'm probably the only one up. And if anybody else is up, I'm probably the only one, doing any type of like serious stuff. So I'm not expecting them to see it, but as soon as they get up in the morning, and get situated, check their email, it'll be there, So whatever time they get up, then they'll have it available. So, they can do what they need to do with it. But everybody already knew what they were supposed to do, like what their task was between meetings. And so, everybody's been doing their part. And so tomorrow we're going to check in with everybody and see where everybody is, see, um, the progress that we made. If anybody needs anything, I know one major ask tomorrow is probably going to be for some money. We're probably going to need to see if we have any funds that we can use to help with some things that we want to do for that day. Um, or we'll see if we can get those services or goods or whatever donated. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. That's going to be a major item um, that we'll have to focus on. So that's what we have coming up. And that's what my focus is right now. Um, Let me see what else. That's the big thing. Just making sure everybody's on task, making sure I myself is on task because I don't want to also like be so busy making sure everybody else is kind of like doing their part where it's kind of like I miss anything that I need to specifically be doing and focusing on or where I don't give myself enough time to get it done. So I got to make sure I'm on top of that. um Let me see what else. That's like right now. That's that's the major. Excuse me, y'all. That's the major stuff that's going on. What are y'all working on? Let me know in the chat. What are you creating? Again, you guys, I'm your accountability partner. You're my accountability partner. So, I feel that I get a lot done by doing these live streams, these writing with me live streams. Um, because it's just like I know a lot of people, have aspirations to write. A lot of people want to work on their books. A lot of people want to create other types of writing or whatever. And sometimes it just makes it like a little bit easier to know that, somebody else is also writing too, and that, you can kind of create a space where it's like we're just having this joint writing session or, this session where we're just all creating something, whatever we're creating, but we're just all doing it at the same time, in the same virtual space. So, sometimes that just kind of adds a little bit of motivation, encouragement, some camaraderie. So I think it's beneficial. Before I started doing these live streams, I used to watch other people's live streams, their live writing sessions, and I felt inspired by it. Some of them were similar to this, where they some of them were like where they would be at the computer and you would see them kind of creating, so you had that type of point of view. Some people did a point of view similar to this one, where it's kind of like it's almost like you're just in the room too. So you get a view of kind of like just the space. So it's almost like you're here. Um, and so I just had the idea the other day to try it this way of kind of like having um, like a fly on the wall, I guess, almost kind of point of view. And just to kind of see what that experience would be like for you guys. So if you like that, let me know in the chat. If you don't like, let me know that too. I probably try different ways of live streaming my writing sessions just to keep you encouraged and keep you kind of like um, not really kind of like used to the same old point of view, where you kind of get a different point of view. Um, So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out this whole, you know, live streaming thing and this whole social media thing and this whole presence. And like I think I just have gotten to the point now, especially, since I'm 45 now. I'm gonna keep telling y'all that I'm 45. Cause guess what? I'm proud of it, okay? But I'm coming into this this, I don't know, like this mode of like, you know what, just let the people see me be me, you know? Like, that's just the best. It's just the best way to do it, you know? So you guys are getting like the exact view of kind of like how I just do my thing, you know, how I just sit here and I just write sometimes, and sometimes I lay down and write, and you know, at some point maybe I'll give you a point of view of that, but I'm not comfortable with that just yet, you know. Let's just, you know, a little at a time here, okay? So, you know, just give you kind of like this point of view, and we'll see how it goes, and maybe we'll expand as time goes on. We shall see. We shall see. But anyways, okay, so let's get back to work. Let me see. Yep, I'm gonna send an email. I don't think I'm gonna be up too late today. Last night we did a pretty good writing session, you guys. We went for like over 2 hours. We did good. Um, so I don't think we're gonna really do it like that tonight, but you know, at least we're getting it in. You know, we're getting in that time. Um on just really doing like some focused work. So we'll see, y'all. All right, it's time to get back to work. Let me know in the chat, what are you working on? So I can hold you accountable, you hold me accountable, and we hold each other accountable. Okay, let's get back to work. Okay, people. We've done good today. We've gone for 2 hours, and I think we've made some great progress. As far as the as far as the girlfriend gala progress, everything is in the book. I've done an updated timeline and a workflow with everyone's job in it, whatever anybody had to do, like our immediate targets are in there. Um, let me see. Let me see. Okay, so here's our comprehensive event plan. Okay, so we've got our handy dandy book together. I've got some blank sheets in here for just notes, that I need to keep or whatever. So I went through and I updated the workflow checklist, and it's just going right in order of like first up is going to be tickets and seating. That's the first. Well, we're more than likely not going to go in order of this, but this is just in some type of order. So as the ladies call in tomorrow, I'm just going to skip around to whatever their committee is, get their updates, whatever their to do is, whatever their needs are. We'll address those tomorrow. Come up with some deadlines, give them some deadlines for when we need stuff done by, or we need an update, or whatever. So it's just gonna go. We're gonna go right in order. So as soon as the ladies call in, they'll give their updates, and then they can go ahead and go on about their day. They can get off the line, or they can stay on and hear the other updates that for the other committees. So that's done, and it's ready to go. I also went ahead and sent that out. I sent that email out with the workflow and the timeline attached to it, as well as the updated comprehensive plan. So that's the full plan. Now the comprehensive plan is like 65 pages. But also, not only is it the actual plan of how we're going to do every single aspect of the gala, but it also has the scripts in there from the for the day of. So we already have a draft of the script that we're going to use that day. I'm going to be the main MC, and then my co-MC is going to be Tammy, and then Peggy's gonna she's the president. She's going to do the speech. She's going to do a president's speech, and so her speech is even in here. So all of that is already drafted, and so it's ready for tweaking and editing and all of that stuff. And then, of course, things are going to change as we add our sponsor names, add our vendor names. We're going to add all of that to the script. So we make sure we don't forget anybody. Make sure that all the bases are covered, and then of course make sure that we don't get stopped up. While we're up there, emceeing the event. We have an order that we want to go by. We don't want to go overtime. We want to stick to our schedule, how we have things mapped out. So we want everything to be structured. So also that whatever that's in this comprehensive plan is the games that we're going to do, and the instructions for them, as well as like how the game's going to go, the rules for it. It's even the treasure hunt game is in here, even down to like our best dress contest. All of that information is in here, as well as our like our verbiage that we use that we're going to be using for our social media posts, our invitations, our signs, our emails, any type of correspondence we have. All of that verbiage is in this comprehensive plan. So all of that like is like from A to Z, you know, how this whole thing is going to function, basically. So that's all in a comprehensive plan. So that's why it's now 65 pages. Like it started out like 20 pages or whatever. And then it just like grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. Because as the plan gets more and more in depth, so does the comprehensive write up of it. And so we're thinking of this like kind of like a SOP, like a standard operating procedure, so that next year we can go by the same blueprint, the same comprehensive plan that we went by this year, and continue like with the same, pretty much plan. The only thing we'd be changing is the theme, and the date. kind of like stuff like that. But mostly, a lot of these things that, are going to stay the same. So committee heads, those type of things will change, but the actual duties will not change. So, that's kind of like, how we're going to go, how we're kind of seeing this is that this will kind of set the pace for future galas that we host. So that way we have like we have a standard operating procedure, we have a comprehensive plan that we can go by every single year and just repeat the same thing. That will take a lot of the guesswork out of it. That'll take a lot of the stress and any type of confusion, or kind of like any type of like starting from zero, starting from scratch. We won't have to do that because we've already developed a plan that will work, and so we'll just repeat that for years to come. And then it'll just get better and better and better, as we grow and as we progress. So, everything is going exactly as it should, is going according to plan. Um and yeah, so everything is going just according to plan, and I'm excited about it. I think this is going great. Like, this is taking a lot of stress off me too, like putting this plan together, making sure that we stay organized and stuff like that, because like, just knowing that I have a plan that I can go by, makes it easier, so I don't have to lean on, or I don't have to like have like this confidence in my memory, or my ability to get things done in any type of like time, sensitive thing where it's like where I have to remember it, or it's just too dependent on me. This makes it where everybody knows what's going on. The transparency is there across the board, right? So everybody knows exactly what they're signing up for. They know what they're getting into, because and then that also enables us to, like, if anything comes up, we're able to quickly fill in any other positions or anything like that, because everybody knows what everybody's doing. You know, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So, I have like this, it starts off table of contents, letting you know where everything is in here. So, let's say you got to go straight to like the vendor committee. You can go straight to the vendor committee. It's on page 13. Go straight to page 13. So you'll know exactly what our vendor plan is. And that's how it is throughout the whole thing. Right here, we've got our sponsorship and fundraising plan. I know you can't see this, but and then on this page, I have our event day run sheet. So this is exactly how the whole day is going to go from start to finish. At a glance, it gives you like, okay, these are the major things that are going to be happening at these time intervals. And as long as we're sticking to these major time intervals, then we'll stay on task for, making sure that we, meet our goals, and then, that we're out of the venue in a decent amount of time. Because I mean, the venue doesn't just stay open all night. You can't just stay there. They want you to be done at a certain point so you can get out of there. They can get things cleaned up, and so they can get out of there. So there's, even after, we're done with our part, there's still things even after the fact that need to be done. So, this enables us to just to make sure that all the bases are covered. We got our ticketing and our promotion plan, the treasure hunt, the games and activities, the best dressed cowgirl contest. This is a plan of exactly how the best dress contest is going to go. Now, the person who is over this committee has creative freedom. So this is a plan, just kind of like a loose plan. I mean, it's pretty detailed. If a person wanted, she could go exactly by this plan, and it's a sound plan. But if she wanted to have a bit of variation to it, or if she wanted to just change the whole thing, that she has that freedom. So, I don't dictate how people execute their plan. They've decided what committee they want to be a part of, or the committee that they want to lead. And so they have creative freedom to do their thing. So I'm not a micromanager or anything like that. Um, then I have a list of all of our assets that need to be created, all of our promotional stuff. Um, so our graphics, uh, our promos, the invitations, the sponsorship highlights, the vendor highlights, just down to even our thank yous and our invitations to join the club, all of that, has to be created. And so we have to have a plan for all that. I mean, we can't like get to the date of the event and be like, oh my God, we don't have any applications to give people, or we don't have any type of like card to give them, inviting them to be a member of the club. Cause that's also part of, what we're doing is um, trying to grow our membership as well. So we always get a lot of great reception after the gala event. We have a lot of women who want to join because, of course, they see like how we get down, and they like, yeah, I want to be a part of that, you know. So then, and I also have like how much of everything needs to be printed, like the list of stuff that needs to be printed, how many of each thing we need. Because I mean, you have to think about that. Like, okay, I'm gonna need this many of such and such to be printed off. So then you got to first create it, right? So you got a backwards plan creating the actual thing that needs to be printed and then getting it to print and then giving the print people enough time to print it on time so you'll have it for the event. So you see how like you have to like backwards plan so many things that if you're not on top of it, you can you could really like drop the ball on a lot of stuff. And then, next thing you know, it's like the event's over and you've got stuff still coming in the mail because you didn't properly plan, properly backwards plan all of that stuff. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, and then of course the script, and I mean just I try to make sure that, we have a pretty good, comprehensive, and thorough plan. So, when you do that, that really takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And that takes a lot of the stress out of it. So that way it's all about just doing what needs to be done to make sure that the event goes the way you want it to. So that's where we are. Continuing our work on the girlfriend gala, you guys. Thank y'all for sticking with me throughout this process. Um, so as we get closer, you guys will see even more promo. You'll see how I'm working behind the scenes and in creating the plan and all that. And then you'll actually see the plan coming to life on, the social media and all that stuff. So I think that's going to be a real interesting dynamic to kind of see how that all plays out. But yeah, just stay tuned and, I hope that you enjoy it. And if you are, make sure that you like the page, make sure you like the video. Make sure you're subscribed and that you're following me or doing all the things, child, to stay up on all the things that I'm up to. Okay. I love you guys. And remember, you are important to me. I need you to survive. Bye bye for now.